We're not here to really hear about your interpretations of the Constitution, as wise and as well-founded as they are. This is simply, let's skip over the obvious. The obvious is we had some principles on immigration reform. We don't want to deal with them, so why don't we blame the president? So what we have here is another do-nothing hearing in a do-nothing Congress, which will arrive at do-nothing legislation.
Would the gentleman yield?
No, I have 5 minutes, and I know how serious you are about limiting people to their 5 minutes.
I was going to be kind.
Okay, then fine. Then I'll yield.
I, for one, would like to testify that I'm interested in a lot of other executive orders. I thank the gentleman.
Thank you. I hope I'll get the extra 15 seconds back at the end. Okay. And so the gentleman says that that's what he's ready. But, Mrs. Foley talked a lot about the Dream Kids, and most of the conversation here has been about immigration. Let's not kid ourselves, right? And Obamacare, they don't like Obamacare to begin with, so I'm not sure why they're so angry about his delaying the implementation of a law they all voted against and detest. But here's another thing. They have a very clear policy on immigration, and they brought forward some principles. So why are we here? We're here because it's really a do-nothing Congress. And here's what they say to the president. They say, the leaders of the do-nothing Congress, they're really going to come after you, Mr. President, if you do something about immigration, if you dare be a do-something president. Because we want a do-nothing president to go along with the do-nothing Congress. Because that's what they said to us. They said, well, we have some principles. And they articulated those principles, and they brought those principles forward. And you know what they did? They elevated the debate. What happened as a result of that? I'm going to tell you what happened as a result of that. I, the president, Nancy Pelosi, and everybody on this side of the aisle said, great, let's have that conversation and let's have that dialogue so we don't have a do-nothing Congress. And said they want to talk about the Dreamers, 500,000 young kids, right? Well, let me just tell you, Ms. Foley, you're wrong. There is prosecutorial discretion. Every last one of them has to pay nearly $500 in a petition before the government to get prosecutorial discretion. And while hundreds of thousands of them have received, thousands upon thousands of them have been denied. It is on a case-by-case basis that it is done, just as it should be. It isn't as though somebody waved a wand and said everybody who arrived here before they were 16. That's wrong. And let me just say something else. It isn't that the Congress militarily didn't say, let's not hurt the Dream Kids. No, they affirmatively said in the House of Representatives that they should have a pathway to legalization, and they should have a pathway. That law was passed in the House of Representatives. And 55 senators said that the same thing should happen in the Senate, Mr. Stern. So let's make clear, except, of course, they brought something up, cloture. I think that's in the Constitution. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Madison, they all brought up the rule of cloture. That's the way they stopped it in the Senate. Otherwise, and the thing is, I don't know why they're complaining so much. While their principles were very good and very welcoming, and I was very happy to see them, one of the things, you know what they said about the Dreamers? They should get legal permanent residence. You know what that means? A green card. No fines. I read their principles very clearly, and they should have an immediate pathway to citizenship. So why aren't we celebrating what the president did in that case? And then they said the Hastert rule, the Hastert rule, the Hastert rule. Really? The Hastert rule never really existed. Who says that? Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House. That's what he says about the Hastert rule. And moreover, the former Speaker of the House, I know we can be silly about this and laugh about this and make everything a joke, but it really isn't. Because since you proposed those principles, this do-nothing president who doesn't enforce the law has deported 29,000 people. He detains more people than any president, over 400,000 a year. So let's not kid ourselves. There are hundreds of thousands, millions of American citizen children who every day are in fear of losing their mom and their dad. This is not a laughing matter where we can simply joke about it. There's Americans, American citizens, yes, born here in this very country. And I think we should take that seriously. But this meeting is not about that. It's about attributing some fault to the President of the United States. You know, I can show you time and time again prosecutorial discretion. This is a letter, November 8, 1999, signed by Henry Hyde and Lamar Smith, along with dozens of other Republican member saying to then President Clinton, you're not using prosecutorial discretion. On what? On immigration. I'd like to introduce it for the record, please. Because I think
without objection, it'll be placed in the record.
That is very, very important. So what are we doing here? We're doing nothing. We have a problem in America. 11 million people. They need help. And you know what? You know what really, really hurt me the most? Was that we raised the expectation. We said to those people, there's hope. That yes, the gentleman from California and the gentleman from Illinois, who many times don't get along on ideological issues, but maybe can find common ground on immigration issue. And you know, when they said this is hard, when the speaker said this is hard, I said, so what's new? That's why we were sent here, to do hard things. If it were easy, they should have another group of people come here. And you know how they felt? They felt dashed, they felt destroyed, they felt disillusioned. And that's why I have to just say, listen, if you're not going to do anything, then don't tell the president not to do anything. Let him help.
The gentleman's time has expired by 1 minute and a half.
Their moms and dads deported from this country. Let somebody do something on behalf of the American people and for the immigrants of this nation. Thank you very much.
I want to thank the gentleman. I now recognize.